I know. I'm breaking the first and second rules of Fight Club just by making this video. But Fight Club is simply too big a topic to keep silent about. Welcome back to Rodi Underworld. I'm your host, Rodi. Look, there are dozens of videos out there about the film's take on nihilism, capitalism, and consumerism. But they all miss the most critical point: how Fight Club unpacks evolutionary psychology, defines modern man through his primal urges, and projects sex and violence in a raw tribal context, stripped of all socio-cultural norms. Why did Tyler Durden manage to influence thousands of men, drag them out of their quiet, domesticated lives, plunge them into chaos, and normalize violence to that extreme degree? If you hit that like button, let's break down why Tyler Durden was right. Part I, Tyler Durden, the man who never existed. Tyler Durden is neither a villain nor a superhero. He is the narrator's Edward Norton's character, second personality, emerging from the brain of a typical, average white-collar employee. Forget schizophrenia or dissociative identity disorder. Tyler Durden is a defense mechanism created by the narrator's subconscious, a response to his anxiety, feeling trapped by authority, emotional confusion, and daily sense of purposelessness. Tyler is everything the modern man suppresses, and everything the mediocre office drone secretly wishes to be. Now, I can hear the comments already. Not every man wants to be Tyler Durden. But look at him. Aesthetic, muscular physique, handsome face, fearless. Completely rational, a general controlling thousands of men, and peaking sexually. He looks like a Greek god, even in a cheap pink bathrobe. And here's the kicker: Tyler is none of the things society demands. Not a millionaire, not a genius, not a prestigious college graduate. That's precisely why a man like Tyler Durden can't exist in reality. He is a primal symbol constructed in the narrator's mind. The real question we need to ask is, why did the narrator need such a savage, primal symbol in the modern world? He could have invested more money, gotten more therapy for his insomnia, or picked up a hobby. But those things couldn't fix the emotional void. He bought exercise equipment, but never used it. He furnished his kitchen, but never cooked. He bought a great bed, but never slept or had sex in it. That was the root of his anxiety and insomnia. The things he owned him. The point here isn't that owning things is bad. The point is to choose what you own. If you unquestioningly adopt a life approved by society, that life becomes a prison, and your possessions become your jailers. The narrator, constantly traveling just to sleep, proves he could only find small moments of peace outside his home and job outside his prison. And he is lonely inside that prison. He tries to cure his isolation with single-serving friendships on planes and forced communication in support groups. But he is also afraid of other people. He wants to leave the cave, but the outside is terrifying. He always reaches the brink of mediocrity, but can't exit the cave. He doesn't want to become like the emotionally bankrupt men in the support group's men who have lost everything. Like the former bodybuilding champion who lost his testes due to steroid use and whose career and wife left him. Yet, by being in their presence, the narrator unknowingly internalizes their sadness and pain. Confronting the modern masculinity crisis head up. He uses these broken men as a reference point when constructing Tyler Durden deep in his mind. Then there's Marla Singer, a selfish, tempting femme fatale who is completely wrong for the narrator's rational life. She is the opposite of the egalitarian, responsible, white-collar women of his dreams. Marla adds another fight to his internal conflict: sexual tension. Being trapped in mediocrity, sexual tension, fear of hitting rock bottom, and purposelessness complete the trauma equation required for Tyler Durden's emergence. And then, Tyler appears on the plane ride. Tyler is different. Every sentence is confident, and his conversation is strangely genuine. No signaling. Tyler's anecdotes about the system, like the oxygen masks on the plane, fascinate the narrator. He rejects his single-serving friendships for Tyler. When he gets home and finds his apartment blown up, he has no safe prison left, so he starts meeting with Tyler. But the narrator put himself in this situation. He blew up his own apartment. It's the breaking point. His choice to go straight to Tyler, bypassing his relatives, means he overcame the fear of being outside the system and followed his suppressed primal instincts. Tyler Durden, the persona in his mind, fulfills the role of the hero he needs to save him from aimlessness. Part 2. The necessity of violence. Why Fight Club? Why couldn't the narrator just go live a simpler life in the countryside? Why start a fight club? Remember their first fight? The narrator was punching himself, but he was also punching the well-behaved, mediocre white-collar identity created by the system. He found his essence by embracing violence and overcoming his fears. Violence is a part of the male essence. It strips men of the artificial norms imposed by modern consumer society. It makes us forget our sorrows, simplifies our traumas, and is the shortest path back to our hunter-gatherer days 10,000 years ago. Think of it like formatting a slow computer or phone filled with useless programs. Violence resets men's minds that have been clogged with the lies and nonsense of consumerism. Anyone who has been in a street fight knows the adrenaline rush of the first punch. Your body goes numb, the pain fades. If you're still standing after the first hit, the resistance you show against the blows makes you fearless. You release the animal within. Physical pain returns after the fight, but you feel profoundly relieved. I'm not talking about a deadly fight with knives or bats, but fisticuffs. Tyler Durden used this controlled violence to cure the men chewed up and spat out by the system. He couldn't lecture emotional men raised by women and living in a lifelong prison. He had to confront them with the brutal reality of life. Talking wouldn't work. He had to trigger their primal instincts, and violence was the perfect therapy. Men had become so soft and aimless that the solution was simple: Fight Club. It was a collective attempt to build a new future. Collaboration, regaining lost initiative, and deep shame for their suppressed masculinity. Thousands of men spent their entire lives working for walls and paying off credit for a fake life presented by ad agencies. That's why thousands of men saw Tyler as a savior. He made the men wait and humiliated them before letting them into Project Mayhem. The reason was simple: you are nothing. You are not special. Your past traumas and sorrows don't matter. Your supposed life is not yours. Drop all the fake roles and emotional baggage the system dumped on you. You can only enter this house as your true self. In the beginning, some came to blow off steam, others because their lives were too monotonous. But the common thread was their joy in purging their natural urges. No names, no ranks, no excuses. If someone bothers you, you can hit them. Only the code of brotherhood and a natural male hierarchy existed. Tyler was not a boss or a mobster. He was a natural leader, the alpha of the pack. Back to the narrator, he solved his insomnia and slept like a baby on a piss-soaked mattress in the same derelict house where he beat himself senseless. As he spent more time with Tyler, his anxieties vanished. He couldn't even manage to bring Marla to his fully furnished apartment, but he regularly brought her to the filthy, broken-down house and had, shall we say, animalistic sex with her. And Marla was quite pleased with Tyler. Tyler dominated her exactly as she wanted, provided good sex, and didn't expect to be understood by laying all his traumas and intense emotions on her. Marla and Tyler had a highly impulsive and primal relationship. She saw a pure alpha who commanded other men, not a typical white-collar drone. Tyler wasn't a bully or a manipulator. He simply gave the men a purpose that would trigger the existing reality, blowing up the centers of all banks. This would erase everyone's debt, allowing them to truly be off the system. So, why did the narrator feel alienated by Tyler's actions? The conflict between him and Tyler was fueled by the narrator realizing he had lived for nothing. If Tyler hadn't existed, he would likely have committed suicide when all his values were destroyed. Confronted with painful truths, people usually go through 3 stages. 1. Aggression, denial. 2. Bargaining compromise. 3. Hopeless acceptance. The narrator passed the first stage when he blew up his apartment. In the second stage, Tyler emerged. He tried to compromise with the painful reality by creating a contrast between himself and Tyler. He was the one having wild sex with Marla. He was the one who founded the Fight Club and planned to blow up the banks. But he attempted to reconcile his old self with his true instincts, Tyler Durden, by slowly adapting, but the compromise went too far. When he tried to regain control as his old self, the organization he built and the Tyler Durden in his mind wouldn't allow it. The moment he accepted all this was at the very end of the movie, holding Marla's hand. The film showed us like a strong punch to the gut. You can't escape your instincts. You can't fight yourself. The narrator, by the end of the process started by Tyler Durden, had not only become an alpha, a leader, but had also won the love of his life, Marla. The narrator was finally free. In summary, if Tyler Durden hadn't emerged as the second personality, the narrator would have committed suicide after blowing up his house and failed to heal thousands of men. That is why, even though he wasn't real, Tyler Durden was right. He was practically a necessary force. But this doesn't mean you should go fight everyone and blow up your house. Fight Club is a criticism of consumer society, offering 4 core messages to men: never fight your primal instincts. Get out of your comfort zone. Comfort zones are prisons. Don't be ashamed of your masculine side. Trust it, and don't be afraid to suffer. Find a purpose. Take initiative and build a life for yourself on your own terms. The film isn't about pure nihilism. It says, shed the unnecessary nonsense imposed on you by nihilism, and be yourself. Go after what you want. Alright guys, that's the end of another video. Don't forget to follow 4 more videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.